ready to fight. Very important fight for both. For Kubrat Pulev, he talks about wanting to get himself back in a position to challenge for the world heavyweight title. For Derek, he just says he wants to fight, but let's be honest, he needs to win. And his last 3 opponents now, which is Alexander Usyk, Joseph Parker and Kubrat Pulev, I know they're all top 15 in the world, some of them are top 5, but you can't keep losing. So for me, it's must win for him tomorrow night.
Lawrence Okolie yesterday putting out 3 tweets. He has since deleted all 3. I think he started off with Eddie Hearn is a...
add the word.
Yeah, so...
Disappointing, really. I mean, look, when people talk about loyalty in boxing, I think loyalty is a very important trait in all walks of life, but I also understand that boxing is a very brutal sport with a potential short window to make money. I think we've done such a brilliant job for Lawrence Okolie. We signed him out of Team GB, very fond of him. He won British, Commonwealth, European titles. He headlined on multiple occasions. I had to defend him on multiple occasions when some of his fights weren't that entertaining, but I always backed him because he was jumping in those fights very early in his career. I got him in a #1 position with the WBO without fighting really any world level fighters. I got him in a mandatory position. He then fought for a vacant title. He then headlined that show. He then defended it at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in front of 70,000. He then headlined again at the O2. He's probably the highest paid cruiserweight in the world. And I also know the commercials around Lawrence Okolie, and there's been several occasions where we've lost a lot of money on Lawrence Okolie. But we've always been 100% honest. We've always delivered on every promise we've ever given. I also bought him a watch that cost me 50 grand because I kept my word. And he's got 1 fight left with us. So I was very disappointed with his comments because, again, we've always backed him, and I feel like we've done an absolute unbelievable job. He's the fighter, he deserves all the credit, but we have helped him change his life. And if we would have sat down when we started this journey together, knowing that at this stage in his career he'd be here, he would have earned this amount of money, and he'd be having 2 defences of his world title, having won British, Commonwealth and European titles, I think he would have thought that would be an absolute dream come true. So, like I said, he has a fight left on his contract. We're talking to his team. His lawyers acknowledge they have a fight left on the contract. We'll see where it goes.
Awkward for you to work with him after that?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I really don't appreciate the comments because, like I said, when you've behaved in a certain way to a fighter, you've given them every opportunity. You've been true to your word. You've got him in fights where fights have fallen through. You've backed him after, getting stick from fans about putting him up the card or whatever, and I really feel like he's a great fighter. He's had an offer, as I said to you the other day, Sky Sports made him an offer. They want him to be the face of Sky Sports boxing. I've got the proposal, and that's what it says on the front. So he might feel that that's a big opportunity for him, and obviously he'd be more of a priority there than he would be maybe he feels on our global roster. But it doesn't matter, you still have a fight left under your agreement, and with all the investment that we've made and the job that we've done, and when we see comments like that, yeah, it's disappointing.
Eddie, if Chisora's going to win this fight, what's he got to do differently than he did against Park in the rematch?
He's got to start faster. He's got to be effective in the clinch. He's got to be effective up close, and he can't afford to get frustrated by Kubrat Pulev. Pulev is a very good stand-up, jab and grab boxer, and he will frustrate Derek Chisora. You don't want Chisora getting through 7 or 8 rounds, almost not sulking because he's not going to do that, but not being able to do his work. And Pulev is very strong. You feel that when you shake his hand. And he will have the ability, as we saw in the first fight, to tie Chisora up. Chisora can't allow that to happen, so he's got to be effective early. He's got to set a very fast pace, and he's got to be relentless. He can't afford to take his foot off the gas.
Do we know his trainer for this fight?
I believe it's Don Charles.
And just reports from Gareth Davies yesterday that AJ Usyk's going to be on Sky Sports. Accurate?
Yeah, I'm not involved in that process, but by the amounts of reports you've seen, sounds like it could be. Obviously, we're not involved in that process. Been a 5 or 6 broadcasters bidding for that. 30 million, was that the number or something like that? Sky have paid 28 million. So yeah, it shows you the value of the fight.
Eddie, Sonny Edwards, Julio Cesar Martinez. Thoughts on that fight, and how far down the line are we?
We are just in the stages of making them an offer, really. We've made them an offer for that fight. I like the fight. I feel that both those guys need a unification. Both tremendous fighters. You've got the history, of course, between Julio Cesar Martinez and Charlie Edwards as well. And I think it's a tremendous fight. We'll see if we can get it made.
Awesome. also Conor Ben. I know we spoke the other day. Keith Hearn was the name. Any update on that?
No, not yet. I mean, I think there's a chance we could announce his next fight at the end of this week, but we will see if we can get that made.
Is Furman realistic given your relationship with BBC?
Yeah, I've made loads of fights with the BBC. I mean, Louis de Cubas and I have a good relationship. Ultimately, Charlie, it always comes down to money. You know, there'll be a number that Keith Thurman wants to fight Conor Ben, and if we hit that number, they'll take the fight. And if we don't, we won't. It's generally how it works. And you know, we've done it a lot with PBC. Probably the most famous was Charles Martin for the world heavyweight title against Anthony Joshua. They gave us a number, we paid it, and the fight was made. So.
If it's not Keith Thurman, what sort of name can we expect? Obviously, we see Ramirez is tied up now with Eubank Gooney linked to the Liam Smith fight. Not really sure how that will play out weight-wise. What can we expect for Conor Ben? Is it going to be a
I think you know that list of Thurman, of Ugas, of Barros. I mean, they're all guys that we want. You know, I mean, I know the Chris Eubank rumours spin around. It's not a fight we're close to making. We appreciate the size of that fight, but I think Conor's focused on the welterweight division, and I guarantee you, end of September, early October, he'll be in a huge fight.
Eddie, what's your expectation level of the pay-per-view sales for Usyk-AJ2 now that it's landed on Sky Sports as per reports?
The first fight did 700,000 buys.
Yeah.
So around the same.
If my math is correct, then that would be a loss in terms of the amount of money that they've put at the £20 price rate.
Well, maybe they put the price up. I don't know. But at the moment, the way the boxing industry is going in the UK, people are prepared to make it loss.
What price would you have put the pay-per-view had it landed at?
The price that you just said.
Eddie, what's the latest on Babbage?
Babbage, I'm actually working on Babbage's next fight. It's almost like you've just gone through my WhatsApp because we're talking about his next fight for September. We have a bit of an issue with Fabio Wardley. Ibe was refused entry into the UK, so we have a replacement opponent, and I want to try and make a little bit of a heavyweight card for September with Gorman against Wardley. I think it's a really good fight for the British heavyweight title. Joe Joyce is still the champion, but obviously he's not going to defend that belt. He hasn't defended it for I think 2 years. And I'd like to do Babbage up there, maybe even against Dave Allen. I keep getting people hound me about that fight every day, so we'll see.
Who's